Come on in. It's the Sports Parlor Podcast, brought to you by BetJack.com. And now, please welcome the guys who know it all, Phil Taylor and Nick Pedone.
Welcome on into the Sports Parlor Podcast presented by BetJack.com. I'm your host, Nick Pedone, joined by 2011 Cleveland Browns first-round pick, Phil Taylor. Phil, what a week it was again for Ohio football. What a week it was for you. 11-2 in our picks this week, and back in firm control of first place in our weekly pick segment. How are you, my man?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me again, man.
And what a week it was for Ohio football here. It started really on Thursday, right when our last episode dropped, where the Browns were able to sneak out that big win on Thursday Night Football. Shorthanded, it was Case Keenum. Baker didn't get his wish to start that game. It was Case at quarterback. Then the Bengals beat the brakes, off of Baltimore in Baltimore. That was phenomenal. And Cincinnati, they stay at number 2 in the nation, while the Buckeyes got a big win. And they'll have another big task against Penn State in Columbus. But the big story this week, Mr. Phil Taylor, ahead of Nick Pedone in our weekly picks. We'll have to get right in our pick segment. What did you think of all this football this weekend?
Man, it was crazy. A lot of great plays, a lot of bad plays. We got some good stuff to talk about.
I think I was definitely most proud of my lock of the week. For you guys that didn't listen to the show last week, was New York Giants +2. I said never bet on Sam Darnold ever.
Yeah, you hate Darnold, man.
I was just taking the Giants there. They didn't have no receivers. They didn't have any Saquon Barkley. Didn't matter. Sam Darnold just couldn't get the job done. It was P.J. Walker at the end of it.
Yeah.
Boy, I think I'll have a tough pick when we get to that, because I don't know if I'm going to pick Sam Darnold again. Phil, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with this week's Phil's Facts, and we can recap what happened last week as we get everybody ready for this coming week.
First one we got, the Bengals have arrived. Yes, they have. As much as I hate to say it, man, they look real good, and the bad part about it, they're young. It ain't one of them, older teams just, looking for that one great year to get there. But these guys are young and they're hungry, man, and it shows.
And as I was watching that game against Baltimore, it wasn't, an incredible all-around effort by Cincinnati. Their defense is really good. That's something that we haven't talked about a lot, because it's been led by Burrow and Chase. And, some of those other guys, T. Higgins, C.J. Uzomah had a big day. I was watching that game, and I was thinking back to a couple of years ago. I had this thought where, Brady was old and his contract was getting up in New England, and Rodgers was getting up there, and Ben was getting up there. And it was right before that 2018 draft class, and it was like, when's the new age coming through? Phillip Rivers looked like he was done. Breeze looked like he was just cashing checks. It was like, what's going on? And I'm sitting here this weekend watching Bengals and Ravens, and I see Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, and then later, you had Kyler Murray and, Justin Herbert, Baker Mayfield here in Cleveland. The league is in good hands with guys like Joe Burrow, and even though it's tough and it's difficult that it is in the AFC North, and as a Browns fan, I know we both got our Cleveland gear on today, it's really difficult for us to watch, but hey, man, they've arrived, and it's a young team that is going to be formidable for years to come. It's funny how the tide kind of turns, where it was Pittsburgh just punching down on everybody else for years. It was almost like the AFC was a little bit of a cakewalk. It was really Pittsburgh, the Patriots were the two kind of constants in there. Man, now you don't know who it's going to be with all these young guys.
That's good though, man. It's a new league, man. It's a lot faster compared to when I was playing. But yeah, it's a lot faster. The offenses like to throw the ball a lot more. So yeah, the fans want to see points. So yeah, with these quarterbacks that we have now in the league, man, the fans are gonna get what they want.
Was that tougher for you as a defensive player to defend against the pass or defend against the run? Obviously, it's probably different for each position. I'm sure guys like Denzel Ward and kind of cover corners, they're hoping for runs. But what's that like for you guys up in the middle when you're trying to get to the quarterback or you're trying to stop the running back?
For me, I would say it's easier on. I like to run.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just me being over top of the center or wherever I'm at is me versus you. If you go that way, I'm going with you. You take me, because whoever you on, they're going to take you to the ball. So you just got to stay on that, and you know what I mean? So, But on the passing side, you get tired more, man. Rushing the passer, and then you get there, and he had already thrown it. Yeah, it gets troublesome.
Yeah, and then it's a completion down the field, and you got to run to the spot of the ball. Yeah,
that's when the big guys look up to their secondary, man. Get your big dogs off the field on third down.
Yep, and that's something that has been a trouble for us here in Cleveland, is getting off that field on third down. It also seems kind of weird, and I wonder if it does have a little bit to do with the offense. It seems like there's so many penalties this season. It literally seems like a play is not really over until like 5 seconds after the play, and you're watching the little score bug in the bottom right hand of your corner. It's like, all right, when's that stupid little yellow graphic coming up that this play's coming back? It definitely seems like they're like, let's really try to get these offenses moving and get people talking. That's what they want. They want the highlights. They want the Instagram reel views. So I kind of get it, but it is maddening to watch in real time.
Even with the penalties that last game, though, with the Browns, freaking Dearness Johnson, though.
Yeah.
It's either, I know Hunt and Chubb coming back, but you can't hide what he did. You know what I mean? So I think they probably getting some calls in that front office for sure. Somebody trying to make a trade for him.
Now, what do you do in a situation like that? Because I'm sure you're right. You know, there is some sort of interest, even if it's just goofy low ball offers. Like, no, we're not getting rid of this guy for a 6th, 7th round pick. But is there any enticement to move a guy like that when you know you have Chubb back this week, unless anything crazy happens? You have Hunt coming back for the end of the season and hopefully a playoff push. Is there any incentive to trade Dearness Johnson? We know they like following analytics. They value some of those picks. In my opinion, at that position where these guys get so kind of banged up kind of quick, you got to hold on to Dearness and keep your cards close to the chest.
And that's the biggest thing. If they're confident that Chubb and Hunt will be back and healthy for the rest of the season, then I wouldn't necessarily see a bad problem with trying to shop Johnson for maybe some bulk on the O-line or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't know contract-wise what's going on with Hunt or one of those guys, so you never know. Dearness can be that might be that guy after Chubb if they decide to re-up him. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad backfield either. All three of them need to play, to be honest.
Yeah,
so.
I'm definitely curious to see how they handle that. And I know that's kind of some conversations that I've had with some people throughout the week. Is it's going to be tough to keep the kid off the field now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go out there in prime time and rush for almost 150 yards. Should have had 2 touchdowns. He had a heads-up play where he slid down to kind of kill clock at the end of the game. It was like a vet move out of a guy that was on a fishing boat a couple years ago. It's really a phenomenal story for Dearness Johnson. I love having him in Cleveland. How about the fullback too, Johnny Stanton? I don't know if you've heard about this. So he caught that touchdown pass, spiked the ball. He's the backup fullback from the practice squad. So he's really, just trying to get his footing in this league. Goes back to his apartment, and his neighbors didn't know that he was back yet. And they were drunkenly chanting, Johnny Stanton, like in their apartment, watching the game on Rewind on NFL Network. And he heard it when he was coming off the elevator or whatever, and he knocked on their door, and they went crazy.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
So it was definitely a good win. They were undermanned, but they found a way to sneak that thing out. And that parlays us perfectly into your second fact this week.
Steelers week. Steelers week. I can feel it now. Let me chill out.
And I know that gets you fired up, right? We had this conversation when we kicked off our show and our partnership when we were at the actual Jack Casino with the, show that we did with Big Play. And you said that, the Steelers were the Browns' biggest rival through and through. It wasn't Baltimore. That's a big, business thing. But the Steelers are what these guys get up to play for. The one thing that I would be remiss if I didn't bring to this show is they had the most delicious taste of Steeler week. Literally the last 2 weeks of last season where you needed to beat them to get in the playoffs. And then you beat them in Pittsburgh in the playoffs. I just have to believe that they want to keep that good mojo riding against Pittsburgh.
And I think they can, man. And, because I don't know. Pittsburgh, they kind of, the last week or so, they've been kind of getting some things rolling with, the offense and things like that. But if they come out here and do the necessary things and play mistake-free football, ain't no way the Steelers are going to come here and beat them. Even though, my boy Joe Hayden, he coming back. And I hope he have a good game, but nobody else though. Nobody else.
And we're not sure if Hayden will have the opportunity. I'm sure he's studying both guys right now because he doesn't know if it's going to be Case Keenum or Baker Mayfield. Baker didn't practice on Monday, so it's going to be kind of a game time decision. You got to imagine a normal week. It's a long week for the Browns, but the coaching staff's going to try to keep those cards close, and they're not really going to give too much sign one way or another if it's going to be Baker, if it's going to be Case.
Baker probably won't practice. He'll be, I mean, if it's still up in the air if he's going to play, he probably won't practice till Wednesday.
Yeah.
Wednesday, and he'll still be limited.
If it was up to you, and I know this is such a loaded question, so forgive me. It's crazy, but like there's a decision that the Browns have to make here. So it's the torn labrum, we all know that, but then he also broke his humerus, like fractured the humerus, which came out Thursday Night Football right before the game. He goes out there and says, "Yeah, the humerus is broke too." He could still play through that. Dude's an absolute warrior, but we got to wait till the inflammation and stuff goes down so he could actually probably get some sort of proper movement in it. It's got to be a difficult decision because the Browns know that they have a guy who they believe is their franchise quarterback in Baker Mayfield, and he wants to go out there and play. But at some point, the adults feel like it's time to be adults, and that's what we saw, with the Denver game when they started Case. I wonder what they do against the Pittsburgh Steelers because Baker balled against the Steelers.
It ain't necessarily adults being adults because Baker is an adult too. It's just
passionate adult.
The boss being the boss.
Yeah.
I mean. Because at the end of the day, yeah, you got your owners, you got your coaches, you got your players. So I know Baker wants to go out there. He got a lot of things riding. Obviously, contracts coming up. Doesn't want to let the team down. Inconsistencies, and sometimes he wants to clean up. He's not having a bad year at all. It's just shit happens. You know what I mean? So I feel where Baker's coming from and wanting to get back out there, and to be honest, I think it's 100% up to him. If he feel he can get through that, and with them having a chance to go to the playoffs, then try to get through it. But if whatever happens in the playoffs, I would say whenever they're done, surgery. That next day, surgery, and be ready for next year. You know what I mean? So this is non-throwing shoulder, so I don't think it would be any lingering effects to the next season as well.
Yeah, I feel so bad for the guy. I really do, because I know that there's, trauma in everybody, and we all, are a little scarred from our past. I know that's kind of deep for me to say, but Baker, the evidence is out there on why he wants to play so bad. Obviously, we know his mentality and his toughness and the swagger and the things that he brings to the football team from a leadership standpoint, but this has happened to him before, Phil, and that's something that's been underreported on. He lost his job at Texas Tech due to injury, and then he had to transfer, which everybody thought was kind of a boneheaded thing, and try to walk on to Oklahoma, and he did, and then won that starting job. But he lost the Texas Tech job in the first place because he was injured, and then the other guy went in there and balled out. I know that deep down inside Baker, and he's never going to admit this, but it's human nature in everybody, he remembers that. It's just it's so tough. And like you said, I know he wants to come back and play because you feel like you're letting the team down. And as somebody that's battled injuries, kind of through your career in Cleveland and beyond, how difficult is that to make that call that, hey, my body physically just can't do what I know it usually can do when I'm not hurt?
It's tough. And that didn't really sink into me till probably a little bit before I retired. You know what I mean? And it's like I done came back from I tore my pec, tore my quad off the whole way, a bunch of surgeries in Cleveland on my knee. So I'm like, I done came back from all this, and I'm just tired, man, tired of it. And it was more, it wasn't even physically that it hurt. It was mental. It was just, I got to do this again. And then once I got released from Washington after that, I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Ain't no point. You know what I mean? It's just out there. You just out there just doing more harm to your body, just trying to make the team. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You just gotta have the heart call it when you see it.
Yeah, and I think Baker definitely does have that heart to come back from this. You mentioned it's the
for sure.
non-throwing shoulder, so it's not like this is really career threatening.
Nah, but it take a strong person to come back from all that. Like I said, I did it. You know what I mean? Came back from the quads and all the other stuff. So, I mean, it's not. You just gotta work. You gotta work hard. That's for sure, and just kill that rehab and prehab.
It's crazy too that the guy literally wants to like go in the game while the thing's broken. Like I can't even wrap my head around that. As someone that has played sports, obviously not at the level that you have and that Baker does.
I feel as though like with a hurt left shoulder and I throw my right, I'll be all right.
Yeah, that's what's crazy though.
Hey, don't let me get hit too hard.
That's the thing is he knows that's on the line too. It was just wild, and the vision that I have from it is he went in the front of that blue tent and right out the back of it, and then in the front of it and right out the back of it. He was like,
you don't even want to hit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's tough, and I know that the Browns are in that tough situation right now. We're gonna talk some more Browns when we got our weekly picks because it is Steeler week. There's a lot to get into there because the Steelers are kind of clicking. But there's another team in the AFC that is not clicking at all, and that's your third fact this week.
Is the Kansas City Chiefs broken? I don't know. They need to figure something out, though. As my boy Kendrick Perkins said on Instagram, he said 11 of the best senior citizen males in the world, Kansas City wouldn't be able to stop them. That's tough.
Yeah.
And funny.
It definitely is funny.
But yeah, I just feel like Kansas City, they're not bad. It's just they on a couple slouch weeks, and they gonna get it going because them coaches are pissed as well. So they're gonna get in there, they're gonna practice the hell out of them, and they're gonna get it right. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's got to be tough to be in some of those defensive meeting rooms, especially just because the Chiefs were never known throughout this whole dynasty for their defense, right?
Yeah,
it's been the offense. So it's got to be tough to be a defensive player. It's like, boy, we're kind of holding this team back right now,
well,
even though it's not the case.
They were doing good in the beginning, like these last couple weeks. They've been looking terrible.
What do you make of Patrick Mahomes? Because it seems like now he really has the interception bug has kind of bit Patrick Mahomes.
He's trying to do too much. He's noticing the defense is kind of bending and breaking. The quote "bend don't break." They bending and breaking, and he's just trying to overcompensate. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think it's his fault. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's thrown some bad balls, but in the situations that he's in now compared to when they were winning, he doesn't, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to force a lot of those.
Yeah, and he's definitely forcing it right now. It seems like they kind of Tyreek Hill, they're having a really hard time getting going. We made the joke at the beginning of the season where it was the touchdown play, right? From youth football, the moms were just yelling, throw the touchdown play. And it was that Patrick Mahomes was just going to flick it downfield to Tyreek Hill. That's not there anymore. And I think the Chiefs need to find other ways to get him kind of grooving.
They're getting after Mahomes, man. They're putting pressure on him.
It's crazy what happens.
No quarterback want to throw under pressure.
None
quarterback.
Of them. Yeah, that is very true. So I'm curious to see what happens there because I don't believe that they're fully broken. I believe that there's too much talent on that team, but boy, they sure look broken right now. It sure seems like there's some work to do there. So I'm curious to see how that shakes because if the playoffs were to start today as this episode releases, the Chiefs would not be in the playoffs.
This is a must-win this week for them. Must win.
Definitely. I mean, this week, in a rare fourth fact, there was something historical that happened over the weekend, and we kind of feel like somebody might have gotten gypped.
Oh, yeah. The guy who gave that ball back. Worst decision you ever made in your life, buddy.
So let's give the people some context. So Tom Brady went ahead and threw that 600th touchdown pass, record-breaking touchdown pass to Mike Evans. Mike Evans just probably didn't realize that it was 600. It was another touchdown pass from Tom Brady. How is it not hard to get excited about that? And he hands it to the fan in the stands, and the fan was going crazy. And then Evans on the sideline was just like, I just gave away the 600th ball. So the Bucs had to send their equipment guy over to go get the ball back, and the guy really gave it back with not that much.
Equipment manager / GM.
Yeah, you were saying before the show that the Bucs should be looking at that guy to get in a front office.
Yeah, man, that ball worth at least $2 million, man. At least that's what I heard, but you get at least $1 million for it. 600th ball by Tom Brady, the GOAT. Come on, man. Ain't no way I'm giving that ball back. I can give up this seat. This ball coming with me.
So the guy ended up getting 2 Tom Brady signed jerseys, a Mike Evans signed jersey.
Whatever you finna say after all that, it ain't worth it.
Mike Evans game-worn cleats. He got the 601 touchdown pass, and then Tom Brady is going to send him a Bitcoin, which right now, if you're following the crypto world, is worth roughly 60 grand.
Not worth it.
Wow. So what would it take for you? And he's getting season tickets for the rest of this year and all of next year.
Boy, they gave that boy to run around giving him peanuts.
What would it
I
take?
need season tickets for life. Sign Tom Brady jersey and whoever else on the team I want. I want legend signed jerseys from Tampa Bay back in the day, like Brooks, all those guys. I said season tickets for life. Super Bowl, if Tampa ever go back to the Super Bowl, I want tickets. Or give me 2 Super Bowls I can pick whenever. You know what I mean? But yeah. But you're going to have to start with at least season tickets for life after giving that ball back. Because he ain't have to give it back at all.
Right.
Because technically Evans gave it to him. Because if he would have just pieced out right after Evans gave it to him, if he was smart and not drinking, and they would have went back and be like, where'd he go? Oh, buddy gone. Buddy gone. You're going to have to hit him up on IG or something.
So I
would have left a note. Here's my email address. Yeah,
I think the guy was probably just caught a little off guard by like how fast it all unraveled, and he probably didn't realize that he could get all this because the bargaining was his. And Tom said, he doesn't really like keeping that many relics. The guy's throwing 600 touchdown passes. Imagine if you had all of those, you would need a whole nother room in your house.
The organization wanted so they can auction it off.
Yeah, so they really wanted it back. So the guy had no leverage because he gave the ball back so quick. It was like the quickest exchange ever.
That's like,
you think he got slighted big time.
Of course.
I think it was kind of fair. He's a fan.
I don't care if I'm the newest Tom Brady fan anyway. You gave me that ball.
We'll put a Twitter poll out on Twitter @BetJack, and we'll ask our audience, and we'll find out, did this fan get slighted? We'll put out a graphic of everything that he got. Did he get enough? Because Phil thinks that he could have gotten way more if he would have held that football hostage. Equal
what he would have got if he would have just put it up on the auction site.
Yeah.
If he would have put that thing up on the auction site for the world to see, you know how much that ball would go for? Just because he did that and didn't give it back, and somebody can be like, I'm buying it from him just because.
Probably a lot, man.
I'm for real.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's probably just the guy's a fan. He loves being a Bucs fan. That's what he gets excited about. He was, he felt as if it was an honor to catch that, little hand from Mike Evans.
He's probably still crying today because he gave that ball back.
I think I'd be able to live with myself. And he said the guy, they got him on record saying that he didn't do any work to get that ball. He was just a dumb fan in the right spot. It was Tom's ball.
I don't give a damn if I did no work for that ball. Hey, that's fate. I was there at the right time. Nah.
All right, well,
we all speaking on him. He gave it back. That's him. But I'm speaking on me.
Yeah, definitely.
There, yeah.
We'll definitely put the Twitter poll up, though, @BetJack. Did the fan get slighted, and should he have gotten more? We'll list out all the things.
Somebody said they had to, me and Tom would have had to negotiate on the way home. He had to drop me off after the game and negotiate on the way home.
Yeah, the guy did say that, like, he hopes he could play a round of golf with Tom. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, now he's saying that, but he adding little stuff. You got to go for gusto.
Yeah.
You got to go for these boys. They got all this money. Go for their necks, man.
It's crazy, too, that
man.
Tom's sending him the Bitcoin, which is worth like 60 grand. He says on the Manning cast last night that he's turning that moment and, the 600th, touchdown pass into an NFT, into a non-fungible token, which is something that Brady's super into in the crypto world. And that probably is going to...
the dumbest stuff
it's
ever right
It's
now.
crazy. It definitely is crazy. But what's crazier...
People paying 50 grand for a digital picture.
That's what I'm saying. Tom's probably going to get his money back.
I got this NFT mansion I just bought. Can you live in it? Nah, it's right here. That's all you gonna see of it right there.
All right, good stuff. Talking NFTs, talking Tom Brady, 600th touchdown pass. We are going to get into our weekly picks of the week.
Let's get it.
And Phil, I know you're going to try to stay ahead of me. I got to try to cut back.
From big parlays to picks on the money line, here are Phil's and Nick's picks of the week.
Welcome in to our weekly pick segment. If it's your first time listening to the Sports Parlor podcast presented by BetJack, this is how the segment works. We'll talk about each and every game on the NFL slate. We're going to make our picks. We're going to talk about the spread, but our picks are based on the money line. So we're picking winners and we're picking losers of every single game in the National Football League. And as always, we do it starting off on Thursday Night Football. This is a phenomenal Thursday night game, and I am going to be front and center on my couch. There was some breaking news, though, out of Green Bay, as the Packers will be on the road against the unbeaten 6-0 Arizona, 7-0 now Arizona Cardinals. Some COVID hits Green Bay as Devontae Adams was added to the COVID-19 reserve list. So Aaron Rodgers is going to be without his top guy. He's going to have to get Allen Lazard involved. I believe Valdez-Scantling is also dealing with some injuries. He's on the IR. So it's going to be the likes of Allen Lazard, Equanimus St. Brown in the receiving core for Green Bay in Arizona against an unbeaten Cardinals squad. In this one, the Cardinals are favored by 3.5. Phil, we've talked about it on this show before. You and I both are both big fans in Aaron Rodgers. We've called him the bad man and done the Stephen A. skit, but this Cardinals offense is just so fun, so quick hitting. Like we talked about in the open, it's how the NFL is moving.
Oh yeah, I mean they're moving quick, and that's how the NFL going. And this week, man, that's gonna be a tough one. But it's tough that Aaron Rodgers ain't got his guy 17. Without 17 there, that's a lot of work. You know, I know Aaron Jones can pick up the slack, but the wide receiver wise, I don't know what they're gonna do. They're gonna have to throw something to Tanyan. They're gonna bring Tanyan in there, and he gonna have to eat up some of that work too. So, but I'm gonna still have to go with Cardinals on there because, you know, Kyler and them boys, they just been steamrolling, man.
Yeah, that's a good point, and it's going to be tough for Rodgers, but if there's anybody that is capable of getting it done without offensive weapons, it's Aaron Rodgers. I mean, it's something that he complained about, and the reason why he really looked like he was going to move away from Green Bay before this season started is he had nobody to throw the dang football to. Familiar sight for him. I'm actually going to pick Green Bay in this one. I think the Packers are, really hitting their stride. The Cardinals are 7-0, and I feel like they're only 3.5-point favorites at home because they're feeling themselves a little bit. We talked about it before the Browns game. At some point, this has to stop. It has to break. It's so difficult to remain without a loss, and it's just tough. So I'm going to take the Packers in a road upset. I think this is going to be a tremendously close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think it's really going to take Aaron Rodgers to pull something out deep within himself to win this game almost single-handedly. But I also like what Green Bay could do defensively. If they could get Zadarius Smith and some of these guys after Kyler and keep him at least a little bit contained, they'll be all right. But D-Hop,
Alexander on Hopkins as well, so I mean the Packers defense can certainly kind of hold the Cardinals offense a little bit. So I mean it's going to be a tough matchup. That's why Vegas only got them as a 3.5-point favorite. So
yeah, definitely. We know Vegas really just likes to play into those home crowds. So that's really the reason why the Cardinals are favored. If this was played in a neutral site, if this was played in Cleveland, Ohio, the line on this would virtually be 0. They wouldn't want to get burnt either way. So they're giving the Cardinals 3.5 because they're the home team. I'm actually going to take Green Bay on the money line in this game. You're riding with the Cardinals. Oh, yeah. We'll see what happens. That's going to be an entertaining matchup. Well, we'll move on to another close line in a divisional battle here as the Indianapolis Colts will play host to the Tennessee Titans. I was surprised to see the line on this, as the Colts are 2-point home favorites in this game. So they're really, believing in Carson Wentz and that home Lucas Oil Stadium, because I'm going to go ahead and pick Tennessee in this one. Derrick Henry is just on something else this season. That's really my reason why I'm picking Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm going to go Tennessee with this one, but Wentz and them, I hope they pull it together and get some things done, but I don't think they're gonna get them done this week though. So I'm gonna go with the Titans on this one.
Yeah, the Titans are 5-2. Colts in second place of that division at 3-4. I look at this as a Browns fan. I'm like, man, why can we not have a division like this where the Titans, even if they find a way to lose this game, yeah, no kidding, they're gonna win this division, and the Colts could possibly make a wild card at 8-8, just because they're gonna come in second place. It's kind of crazy. I'm going to take the Titans, though. I don't really understand why the Colts are favored -2. Maybe this turns into one of those games, though, where the powers that be in Vegas that sets these lines, like, kind of look back on us and say, ha, 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 that's why they were favored by 2. But not for us. We're both right in with Tennessee. Well, this will be a good game off of a bye week for Los Angeles, as the Chargers will be back in action at their beautiful SoFi Stadium at home against Bill Belichick's New England Patriots. The Patriots are coming off a huge blow-off win where they were able to put a lot of points up on the board, but I'm sure that Justin Herbert and those Chargers are rested. Brandon Staley, a smart head coach, Mount Union educated, and that's where he got his start into coaching. I'm sure that they're going to come back with some trickery in this game, and the Chargers will be 5-point favorites here.
Yeah, that's I ain't really watched too much. I saw Kendrick Bourne throw that touchdown pass. Yeah, but I ain't been watching the Patriots too much, man. They kind of on another one of their little rebuilding years, trying to figure it out. And but they got their guy, Mac Jones. So, but I just think that they ain't gonna put up with the Chargers though. I'm gonna go with the Chargers, and I'm gonna take the money line on this one too.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Chargers. Give me the Chargers and the 5. I think that, like you said, there's nothing wrong and there's no shame in being in a rebuild year. For the Patriots, that you got your guy in Mac Jones. You literally just put up 40-some points this past week. It's just, how do you surround Mac Jones with the talent where you could, hang with the team like the Chargers, like the Browns, like the Bills? That's going to be the next step for New England. They're right there. They got their quarterback, it feels, really just 1 year removed from not having Brady. You kind of got the next guy in line. Now it's just kind of plugging in the rest of those pieces so you could hang with everybody else. Well, I'm excited to talk about this one. Let's get down to Carolina as the Panthers will be at home against the Atlanta Falcons. Vegas finally heard me. They listened to the Sports Parlor podcast. They downloaded it on Apple. They downloaded it on Spotify. They subscribed to us on YouTube, and they said, that Nick Pedone is right. We are not going to make a Sam Darnold-led team favorite, even at home, even against the Atlanta Falcons, because he went out there and laid an absolute egg last week. He was benched. We saw XFL legend
on your old team.
Crazy.
How you go out there and play like Dookie against your old team? Like, that's supposed to give you the most motivation to go out there and have a great game. He went out there and pooped his pants.
Phil, yeah, he's not good. And if I'm Sam, I'm calling up my agents and saying, hey, this isn't working out. We got the 5th year picked up next year somehow. That's going to be $16 to $17 million of worth of highway robbery. After that's over, let's try to get some deals going to be a career backup. And there's no shame in that. People don't realize that you make good money as a backup. You don't have to do a whole lot, but go to practice, and stuff like that. So for Sam, nothing wrong with it, buddy. You're just not a starter. You're not Lamar Jackson. You're not Baker Mayfield. You're sure as hell not Kyler or Herbert, and you're going to be riding the pine somewhere for the next couple of years.
Do you really think it's him, or you think it's the system?
I think it's him, because we played this game, and everybody was like, oh, well, just get him away from the Jets. The Jets are a horrible franchise, and get him away from there, and he'll shine. He's big. He's strong.
It's not like he went to a team where They were built for him.
Dude, they got everything. And I know McCaffrey's on the IR, just absolutely eating up a spot on my fantasy league as my playoff hopes slip away from me. They got CMC. They got Robbie Anderson, who had a beast of a year with Teddy last year. They have...
And why can't he get the ball?
They have DJ Moore. They drafted, starting offensive tackles. He can't get the ball to him because he sucks. He's seeing ghosts again. It's like, dude, how many times do we have to do this? He had guys wide open. It's like he's addicted to throwing interceptions. He always has been. That's why the Browns probably didn't take him out of USC, is they said, we literally just had a guy in Deshaun Kaiser that threw a league-leading amount of interceptions. We're going to take Sam Darnold? Hell no. I'm taking the Falcons here. The Falcons are 2-4.
I know you are.
They're somehow 2.5-point favorites on the road. They're going to be without McCaffrey for this game, Will Carolina, and I don't think Sam could do it without CMC. I just don't. Even against Atlanta's defense. Atlanta has, I will say, at least we're talking about this matchup and the things that are real, Atlanta's finally found a way to let Matt Ryan be just the old quarterback. Yeah. And that's just throw it to Kyle Pitts. You got this big, gigantic tight end that you spent the 3rd overall pick on. Just throw it to the guy. Let him cook on his own. You don't have to do anything spectacular anymore. There's no more need to feed Julio. It seems like Calvin Ridley definitely isn't going to be that Julio caliber player that's up next. So just get the ball to Kyle Pitts and be the old quarterback that could just stand in the pocket and dump it off to him on science.
Dink and dunk. Yep. I'm taking the Falcons as well.
Wow. Yeah, see, so you don't give me a hard time about Sam and then take the Falcons.
I always got to give you a hard time on Darnold, man.
All right, let's move on past that one. This will be a good matchup. It'll be a short week for the New Orleans Saints, as we just saw them on Monday Night Football. Saints are 3-2. The Buccaneers are red hot. Bucs are going to be 4.5-point road favorites in this one. I'm going to take the Bucs on the road. Too much Tom. The game on Monday Night Football was a tough watch, man. Geno against Jameis. It was like, which quarterback wants this the least? And it turned out to be Geno. Jameis, they got to figure something out with him. It seems like he's not the same guy that we saw week one.
What's the name? Get into it.
Yeah, and I also saw that, like, Breeze was even kind of taking some shots that, like, they got him in that same kind of handicap Drew Brees kind of offense. Like, you have to let Jameis just fire.
If Drew Brees said y'all need to open up that playbook and let him do what he do, then what I'm saying? Sean Payton, that's that old school coaching mentality. You can't really get into them coaches' heads like that. They're going to coach the way they coach, and no matter who out there, you're going to run my little script.
It's aggravating.
Yeah, puppets.
So I take it we're both going to take Tampa here.
Yeah, for sure.
Brady's just firing on all cylinders. Give us both the Bucs. All right, let's do this. Sunday Night Football. This will be a good little matchup, even though it's, nothing crazy, but the Dallas Cowboys, I keep telling you, they're good. They're going to have another chance on primetime to prove to people that they're good. They are good. The Cowboys are a good team this year. I believe in the hype. I'm not a Cowboy fan. I'm a Browns fan. But I have to recognize that the Cowboys, we've beaten down on them, and they've been the butt of the jokes and the memes. But they're good. They finally got a good, complete team. And I feel like they're going to make the playoffs this year and even win a playoff game this year. Cowboys are 1.5-point favorites on the road in Minnesota in that dome in Minneapolis.
I don't know, man. Vikings been playing good as well, but we got to see if Cook going to be back this week.
Yeah, it could be Alexander Madison for, Minnesota. Mm-hmm. It seems like that's not too drastic of a drop-off whenever Madison plays.
It's going to come down to, is Kirk going to give you his 300-plus game, or are you going to give you his,
160?
You know what I mean? So that's the only thing about the Vikings, man, is a consistent quarterback. So, man, as much as I don't want to go against the Cowboys, I'm going to have to pick them this week.
Wow. All right. Phil's taking the Cowboys. I'm taking the Cowboys, too. Cowboys are good. Cowboys are good. It's crazy, but Sunday Night Football, they're going to kind of show the world. I've been waiting for Stephen A. to have his moment. He posts the video right after they lose of him cackling and yelling and laughing. And Hasn't happened yet. Stephen A. hasn't had his opportunity, so they're gonna keep him away from that. All right, another short week game here in Seattle as the Seahawks will be 3-point favorites at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars they were able to get the dub. Jags on the road. I would pick Jacksonville if this game was in Jacksonville. It's just that Seattle's such a hard place to play. You're going in there with a rookie QB. You're going in there with Urban Meyer as a rookie coach, and even with Geno at QB in this one for probably 1 or 2 more games. I think Seattle might have enough to get it done. I want to pick the Jags right here. I just don't know that I could do it.
You right.
Oh, I don't like being right. It's not that fun when I'm right.
Nah, because the Seahawks, man, they like you said, they're a tough team to beat no matter who's at quarterback when they're playing at home. And Geno didn't look the greatest last night, but he didn't look the worst. It was times he could have been a lot better than what he was, but I mean, I don't know. They need 3 back for sure. And it's just showing, man, a lot of these backups ain't really that good. I mean, you know what I mean? A lot of these teams got these backups in here, and they're like, "Ooh, we need to go start some recruiting."
Right, and it should show too to all the people that get so grumpy. I remember there were legitimately people that were mad. It's just fans. It's not anybody with the actual know-how that get in these guys' pockets. And when Russ got paid, Russ didn't deserve all that money. Same with Dak. Oh, Dak didn't deserve all that money. Okay. If I'm Russ, I'm pulling up all of those receipts of the people that said I didn't deserve all that money. Because look at what you guys have now. It's Geno Smith. So you do need me. You did need to pay me all that money. Because
people gonna say whatever. Like the fans and stuff that talk shit about guys and what they get paid. Like, how you gonna talk shit about another guy that's working and getting paid? Like, nobody talk about your job, your little job you got. You know what I mean?
Right.
Nobody come up, man, you make too much money fucking picking up that trash and shit. Like, nah, stay in your place, man. You can't be talking about another man's job. You got a job. Hey, everybody got their job. Everybody doing what they do for their family, man.
Yeah, it's weird, and I definitely feel like it's always been weird, and I definitely feel though that Russ is bringing this to fruition of just how weird it is because they need him. They need him
bad. They need him bad.
I'm gonna pick Seattle.
Oh man, you picking crazy now. Seattle?
I'm going to pick Seattle. They're at home. 12th man, DK Metcalf.
DK went off, though. I ain't going to lie.
Tyler Lockett. They got to get him going.
What did he do?
Nothing, but stop throwing it to Swain. I got Lockett. I'm trying to trade him here in my fantasy league, and they can't.
Don't even get me started about that. But, yeah, I'm going to keep it even with you right now. I'm going to go Seahawks.
Oh, come on. I got to stop making my picks first.
If I just keep it even with you, I win the whole season.
All right, we'll head to Mile High. Teddy Two Gloves didn't look too bad against the Cleveland Browns on Thursday Night Football. He'll have another opportunity, though, in his home stadium against the Washington football team. There is a lot of rumors going on with Washington right now as they could be a potential suitor for Deshaun Watson. Obviously, probably won't happen by the time this game is played. All that right now is just chatter. So this game still needs to be played. The Broncos are 3-point favorites.
It's too much going on in Washington that's similar to what Deshaun is doing. I don't think it's a good look for either one of them to be going to Washington, for him to be considering Washington.
Yeah. And he definitely so let's talk about this because he has that no trade clause. Not going to be the best fit for my talent. I'm just playing Houston if I want.
And that's another reason why it's taking as long as it's taking, that no trade clause. So they're trying to be like, dang, how can we get the most for him without him turning it down? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So in this game, Broncos are 3-point favorites at home. I don't know who to pick here. Washington's been struggling. Denver's been struggling. Vegas has this as another toss-up. It's just 3 points because Denver is in their home stadium. I don't know what to do here.
Man, as much as I like the football team and the defense, they ain't been playing the way they supposed to been playing, man. But I'm gonna have to go Broncos on this one just because how Teddy's just been more consistent. You know what I mean?
He definitely has been.
Heineke's been consistent on the football team as well, and McLaurin. But that defense is just you would think the defense would be playing better than the offense, and it's like flipped over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the offense is clicking, but the defense is not. So until they get them things right on the defensive side, I'm gonna have to go with the Broncos.
I'm actually gonna take Washington here.
You're trying to come back now.
I think you gave me the reason as to why I'm going to pick Washington. I think it's just because if they find a way to get that defense synced up, we saw the Browns defense pretty much shut down Teddy. I mean, 14 points, that's not bad. If Washington could find that and could get some big plays out of Chase Young in big spots and get a sack here and there on third down and force a punt, there's no reason why Washington can't win this football game.
Sure.
So I'm going to take Washington. I got to start picking some underdogs. So give me the Broncos. I mean, give me the football team. All right. Didn't even know who I picked. That was such a bad matchup. All right. Let's go to Detroit. Not much to talk about here. Lions are going to be at home, but the Eagles are going to come in and be 3.5-point favorites. Said it one time, say it a million times. All you could say about the 0-7 Detroit Lions right now is that they're trying. They pulled out every trick out of the bag. They covered an onside kick, and they were trying to beat LA so bad. This poor Dan Campbell cries in his post-game press conferences. He wants to win so bad, and meanwhile the Eagles just have Jalen Hurts running around out there being a good fantasy quarterback and not that good of a real quarterback.
Shit, you can't be a good fantasy quarterback if you ain't a good real quarterback. I don't know. What I mean,
his team's 2-5.
Huh?
His team's 2-5.
Yeah, true. How many points did he get you on fantasy?
Like 29, 30.
He had that much?
Oh yeah, his rushing, it goes crazy for fantasy.
He's running for his life.
Yeah, and especially when they get him at that 5-yard line. Who are they going to hand it off to? Miles Sanders? No. Boston Scott? No. They just let Hurts kind of run to the outside.
All these picks, all these first-round picks you spent on receivers, you got a guy, Miles Sanders,
who's hurt now.
Basically backed up Saquon in college.
Yeah.
Okay. That's great. You got another first-round quarterback, college, can run the ball. Okay. You got some pretty decent, pieces on the offensive line.
Yeah.
Why aren't they moving the ball better? Is it the defense holding them back?
I don't think, because that defense, I can't believe that defense regressed that much in a couple years where they were that defense got them to the Super Bowl.
The leader in Cox is still out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
it's very, very strange as to why they can't get things going. I don't know why I'm going to do this. I'm going to pick the Lions. They're at home, and after this conversation we just had with Philly, neither of us could give a real diagnosis as to why they can't move the ball why they can't stop the ball.
Man. Yeah, I think the Lions can win this too.
They're getting closer and closer every week.
To be 0-7, it's a weird thing to say, but they're the best 0-7 team I've seen. Because the way they've been playing, it's not like they're getting blown out.
And they don't give up.
Yeah, they don't. And it make me feel a lot of like my days in Cleveland. You know what I mean? We wasn't really getting blown out, but we were out there fighting. People say what they want. We was out there fighting every game. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go with the Lions on this one.
Wow, now that feels like we're putting out some bad luck into the universe for those poor Detroit fans. But give us both the Lions at home. All right, let's move into this Monday Night Football. Earlier in the podcast, we talked about the Kansas City Chiefs. They're back at Arrowhead Stadium. This has got to be a get-right game for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. 10-point favorites against Danny Dimes and the New York Football Giants. Fresh off a big win against Sam Darnold.
Oh, yeah. Slumped a mud hole in there.
I feel like that's not going to happen in this game, though, right? Sam Darnold, Patrick Mahomes, two different quarterbacks. You could say what say what you want about Patrick Mahomes. I get that he's leading the league in interceptions right now, tied with the league lead in interceptions. Okay, not a lot of things are going his way. Cool, we get it. We could make the jokes. At the end of the day, he's still Patrick Mahomes. I'm still going to take the Chiefs here. I'm going to take the Giants to cover this 10-point spread. I think that's a ton of points in an NFL football game, especially for the Chiefs that are looking to rebound. But on the money line, as we do these picks, I got to take the Chiefs. I don't think the Giants could win this football game. I just don't think the Chiefs could win by 10.
I'm taking the Chiefs and the money line because...
And the spread? The 10?
offensively, what is New York going to do?
Whatever they did last week, they found a way to win.
Even though the Chiefs can't stop some senior citizens on offense right now, but what the Giants, all the receivers hurt.
Saquon's hurt.
Saquon hurt. Like, yeah, I'm gonna take the Chiefs. And Chiefs 3-4, they can't go 3-5.
No,
Can't go 3-5. 3-5 right now. You're looking at a wild card, if that.
if that, yeah.
In that division, if that.
Yeah, 3-5, you could be looking towards the draft. So it's a must-win game for Kansas City. I definitely think they'll win. I think this 10 is just big. I lean on the side of caution always when I see these big spreads. And even though it's been done, like freaking Arizona last week was a 16.5-point favorite against the Texans, and the Texans had the lead. And then Arizona still covered. So it's crazy with these big spreads, but it makes me nervous. I'm going to take Kansas City, though. All right, we'll move to Soldier Field in Chicago, where the Bears will be without Matt Nagy. Some are saying the first positive thing that Matt Nagy has done for the Bears is his COVID test this week, and the Bears are going to be 4-point favorites at home against the 49ers. Maybe addition by subtraction, Vegas believes, without Matt Nagy against San Fran.
I'm going to go with
The Bears are coming off a brutal loss to Tampa Bay because that Tampa D was just feasting.
Yeah. Fields, man. He was out there just like, what am I gonna do? He's sitting on the bench. I'm looking at TV. I'm like, damn, he out there just puzzled. He couldn't do nothing. Like,
they can't block for him at all.
I would say. Only way I would pick the Bears if how Khalil Herbert played.
Yeah,
you know,
he's good.
If they get him going, and then start the dink and dunk, and then you find Mooney and take the top off the defense, stuff like that. But Nagy won't run his BS. I should say.
It's not Matt Nagy though.
This week is not.
whoever it's gonna be, maybe the play caller is gonna go in there and be feeling himself.
I'm going 49ers, man. I'm going 49ers. I don't care what the Bears talking about.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a safe pick. They're 4-point favorites for a reason on the road. The 49ers, though, Kyle Shanahan, man, he's addicted to this QB controversy. And Garoppolo's a little banged up. Trey Lance is a little banged up. He doesn't know who's going to be starting at quarterback. I'm going to just ride with the philosophy of addition by subtraction. No Matt Nagy. Maybe, just maybe, if somehow Chicago can find a way to neutralize Nick Bosa and that San Fran front and give Justin Fields just a hair of a second to think about where he's going to throw the football, the Bears got a chance with no Matt Nagy. I'm going to pick the Bears against better judgment. Home cooking. All right, talk about a huge spread. Go back to this. The Rams on the road are going to head into David Culley land. And boy, David, I feel so bad for this guy. It could be Tyrod Taylor back at quarterback for the Houston Texans, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to pick the Rams. The Rams are 15-point favorites.
You taking the points too?
I'm going to take the Rams in the points. I don't like doing. I really don't like doing that. And I'm not doing it confidently, but I'm taking the Rams and the points just because, dude. Stafford,
the Texans,
Stafford,
I'm taking both too.
Yeah, that's just a tough game. What more
Stafford
can you say?
been ball. He looking better than he ever looked in freaking Detroit.
Yeah, he's having fun, man. California Stafford. I mean, he's in that warm weather. He's got all these fast receivers.
So it was golf fault, huh? That's what LA thinking. So it was golf fault.
They could be thinking that. I mean, it's crazy, right? And I know that's the thing too. I know that a lot of our audience is Ohio fans, Brown fans. With this Baker extension, I know a lot of fans don't want to get themselves into a, Jared Goff type of situation where you pay the guy all that money. And he's good. I think Jared Goff is a serviceable, starter to bridge kind of quarterback. But, man, it definitely seems like you get Matt Stafford in there now. And they look like they could play in an NFC championship game this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. They got Cup going like that.
Yeah.
Man, shoot.
All right, big spreads continue. Before we get into our Ohio picks, the Buffalo Bills against the Miami Dolphins. Bills back at Orchard Park, going to be 13.5-point favorites in this one against Miami. Miami's just been struggling. Now they got Jerome Baker hurt. At linebacker from Ohio area kid, Benedictine. I definitely get the vibe that Miami is probably going to be sellers at the deadline. They're 1-6. Next couple of weeks, maybe we could see them sell off some of those pieces on defense and just try to recoup some picks. Give me Buffalo in this, and give me the 13.5. I don't think there's going to be much.
There's a chance they might trade Tua?
I mean, if they're serious with the Watson stuff, I think how don't you? You spend a first-round pick on him, try to get something, yeah. I don't think you're not going to get another first back.
You think it'll be messed up? Because all Flores has been doing is deflecting it and saying there's no, like he says, Tua's our guy.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because what are you supposed to say in that situation? It's like yeah, Tua has to be your guy.
The head
this
coach
week.
is obviously the bridge between the ownership and players,
and the GM is in their ear too, so it's definitely tough. And as the head coach, it's extra tough because you got to be the face of it. The owner and the GM, they're not out there answering questions every Wednesday and after every game. So like as the head coach, you got to answer those tough questions, and that's the shield that a lot of these guys put up. We saw it in Arizona where literally all the way up until Kyler Murray was the pick, they were saying Rosen's our guy. We're going with Josh for another year, and then they draft Kyler. Yeah. So I think it could be a similar thing. It's tough for Tua because I do think he's a young, promising player that we just haven't seen enough of yet to really get a true read on one way or another. But yeah, if I'm Houston and I trade Watson away to Miami, I would like Tua back in a package, so at least I could have a young guy that I have some sort of confidence in for the future.
I would say it would work. That would be a win-win because you're giving away a quarterback in Houston that obviously doesn't want to be there.
Right.
May have some baggage, so you want to get that cleaned up, and you're getting back a younger guy that can be, if not just as good as Watson.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we don't know.
You never know. And he's coming off an injury. Everybody deals with injuries differently, and you never know. Sometimes it might just take a change of scenery.
Sure,
not
does.
In Sam Darnold's case, but that's your guy.
Alrighty, we are going to get into our Ohio picks this week. Big lineup for one of our local Ohio squads. Huge spread here, Cincinnati Bengals, and I'm sure it'll be music to a lot of the fans out there in Cincinnati's ears. They haven't been this large of a favorite, and I'm sure a very long time through some of their, rebuilding that they've been able to do. The Bengals on the road against the New York Jets, 9.5-point favorites in this game. Obviously, the Jets are going to be without their rookie quarterback, and Zach Wilson got hurt, knee injury, could be out 2 or 3 weeks. Cincy is just good. I'm afraid of the Cincinnati Bengals. I called them a cute story a few weeks ago when when they played Rodgers and they lost that kicking battle there. But Cincinnati has proved to me when they went on the road in Baltimore and beat Baltimore, they're no longer a cute story, Phil. They're a legit football team.
Oh yeah, for sure. And their offense is rolling. But the defense, man, they've been stepping it up. You seen my guy Larry Ogunjobi?
Yeah.
He out there balling. He's starting out there. You know
what
I mean? So, yeah, man, I got a lot of respect for that guy. And they've been out there balling.
Yeah, Larry's balling. How about even Jesse Bates? The safety looks really good for them. So there's a lot going on defensively for the Bengals, and offensively we talked about in the open of this show. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase. That looks like a formidable 1-2 punch for DBs around the league for years to come.
Years to come.
So this game, I think it's going to be pretty easy. I'm taking Cincinnati for sure. Are you taking Cincinnati?
Of course.
Are you taking the 9.5?
I'll take the 9.5.
I'm going to take the 9.5 too, man. It's a big spread, but with no real starting quarterback for the Jets, they just traded for Joe Flacco. So
they did.
Yeah,
they sent him back.
Yeah, so it's like weird, like short week type stuff.
How would you feel if you Joe? Like they're like, man,
weird.
Man, y'all don't nobody care about me.
Yeah, they didn't really
They're gonna
want
send me back to this motherfucker.
yeah, and then it has to play a tough game in front of his home fans if he gets in there and plays against Cincinnati, who's just humming on all cylinders, this kind of darling child.
It was kind of smart on their part, though, as I think about it, because he knows the offense.
Oh, definitely.
You know, and that's why they did that. They want to, and they know somebody, and they don't want to come in and be like, this guy, he don't really know too much, you know what I mean? So they get somebody to know the offense, you know, so. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, Joe's a vet, and for the AFC North standings, Bengals are in first place. So for Cincy, you can't let Joe Flacco have like a turn back the clock type game, because you were just asking, how do you feel if you're Joe Flacco? You know, they don't care about me.
He knows the Bengals, so,
and that's what I'm saying. Mentally, maybe Joe Flacco is saying, let's go. Like, this is a huge opportunity to kind of stomp down on, you know, I get traded midweek, weird thing. If it is Flacco in this game, I don't know. Maybe there is a toss up. I just think that right now, since he has things figured out, I'm going with the Bengals. All right. Act you've all been waiting for. The Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh Steelers week. Browns are at First Energy Stadium. I like playing the Steelers at First Energy Stadium first in the season to kind of get our bearings. The Steelers have figured things out. I know you were talking about your boy Hayden. They got Joe Schobert on that defense now, former Browns Pro Bowl linebacker. TJ Watt looks really, really good. And again, we're starting to see why Pittsburgh had no hesitation to pay him all that money.
Oh, yeah.
And for the Browns, we don't know who it will be at quarterback. We know Nick Chubb will likely be back for this game, and it seems like the Browns' offensive line will be at full strength. So it sounds like it'll be Jack Conklin is going to be back. Jedrick Wills is going to be back in this game. But still a lot of question marks for the Browns' defensive, really all over the field here in this one, just because there's a lot of injuries.
True, but I think they can still get it done. It's a lot of still ifs in the Steelers' offensive game plan. And even though Najee Harris been getting a lot of carries, he's been doing good. I feel as though it's still Big Ben not seeing everybody, on the offensive side when it comes to like the receivers and stuff like that. Claypool ain't really been involved too much. Johnson has been the only guy. You know what I mean? Schuster's hurt now, so they got a lot to do on the offensive side. Defense is going to be, how they go as T.J. Watt goes. But I'm going with the Browns on this, and I think they can cover the spread as well.
I'm going to go with the Browns. I'm going to go with the 4 as well. It's crazy. It's crazy because, for me, and I've had this conversation with you before, Phil, Pittsburgh's been big brother. It's been so difficult to beat them. But like you just said, if the Browns can find a way, we talk about the keys to victory. For me, it's keeping Najee Harris contained. That's really all Ben could do at this stage of his career, especially with that weak sauce O-line we haven't even mentioned. Send Garrett and Clowney, please, with a blitz. Send Grant Delpit through that defense and just get after Big Ben. He could be rattled. We saw it in the playoff game where he was sulking on the bench after that victory. I think the Browns could win this game. I think they could beat down on the Steelers and cover the 4 points. And even if it is Case Keenum at quarterback, that should give Browns fans in this city a lot of mojo and a lot of swagger going down to Cincinnati for the Battle of Ohio next week.
In the Steelers game, you got to start early. You got the first play. I don't care if you get a penalty. You got to go hit a mother in the mouth. You know what I mean? I don't care. Get the 15s. Get this shit out the way. This Steelers game, you got to go get it.
So what's that like in the locker room, Browns Steelers? You've been in there. Is it a little bit ramped up, even through some of the down years? There's got to be a little bit extra.
The toughest week of practice, in my opinion, in the trenches, probably one of the toughest week of practice during the season, because because we call the NFC North, the AFC North, the black and blue division.
Yeah.
Because in the trenches against, Baltimore, Cincy, and Pittsburgh, it's crazy. You saw after every game. You know what I mean? But with these games, yeah, double chin strap game.
Yeah, we definitely saw the the locker room was live after the Browns were able to beat Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh. You don't think that there's any Pittsburgh is gonna want this win. There's no billboard material, bulletin board material for Pittsburgh, right? Or is there extra motivation because you beat us in the playoffs? We're gonna try to beat you now.
I would say yeah. I mean, anybody on that Steelers team that was there last year when they took because they beat them in the playoffs and then they beat them to go to the playoffs.
Correct.
So yeah, I mean that's the last two meetings. The Browns 2-0. Steelers don't like that, regardless. You know what I mean? So yeah, they definitely that's gonna be bulletin board right there. They needed to beat us last year to go to the playoffs. They beat us, and then we was both in the playoffs, and they beat us. And that's demoralizing for a Steelers fan to lose to the Browns. Okay, yeah, they beat us to go to the playoffs. Now we got them again, and we lose. Oh, they mad, and I love it. I love it.
What's your win condition for this game, Phil? For me, it's just got to be getting after Big Ben. I think if you would just expose that
put Big Ben ass on his back as much as you can, and it's going to be an easy dub. Easy dub. You put Big Ben on his back and make him make mistakes and throw picks, easy dubs.
All right, man. I hope so. I know we're going to be watching it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Definitely always one of the games of the year when, the Browns get to play Pittsburgh, especially in Cleveland. On Halloween, there's going to be some goofy costumes and outfits.
Sunday night game, too.
Should have been
crazy.
Should have been, especially who they got on Sunday night. We just talked about it. They got
Cowboys
and Vikings. Come on, man. Give the Browns Steelers playoff.
I don't know who make that. You got that's
on Sunday night.
Browns Steelers going to make more money for TV than Cowboys.
Don't you think if you owned a business?
Yeah, Cowboys, they call them America's team, but I don't know.
If you owned a business and you had a commercial and you wanted it to be played on Sunday night, wouldn't you want it to be played on a Browns Pittsburgh over Cowboys?
But I think the teams got something to play, something to do with that as well.
Yeah.
So the Cowboys, I mean, obviously they're going to be making some money.
And the Browns just played in prime time, too.
Yeah.
So that could factor in that Thursday night game against Denver. Either way, the Browns, we were both picking them. Browns and 4. Let's go, Browns. Beat Pittsburgh. Always the best week. Phil, this has been a lot of fun. Another episode of the Sports Parlor Pod in the books. Make sure to check us out. Apple Pods, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to download the Sports Parlor. Give us a 5-star. Write a nice little comment. We're also on YouTube, so go check us out on there. We have a bunch of fun little short videos on there too. Go subscribe to the Sports Parlor. Go cheer on our picks. Phil, throw them your disclaimer, and we'll be out of here.
It's not our fault if you lose your monies, but always bet responsibly.
Definitely. Thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Sports Parlor Podcast presented by BetJack.com.